Roses are red, violets are blue. My fiance's hot like Beyonce. Let's talk Love is Blind, Season 2. Welcome to Gorilla and the Geek. I am one half of your hosts, Buff Charmander, joined as always by my good pal, the Ginger Gorilla. Dude, second time's the charm, second time's the season. We tried recording this podcast last week and it just crashed and burned. So, and if I must say so myself, it was a pretty solid pod. So we're hoping to recapture some of the magic that we were doing last weekend. How you feeling going into this rerun?
Feeling good. It already started out beautiful because, although your intro last time with your singing was amazing because you sang Sal's Hot Like Beyonce, this one had a nice flow, a nice rhyme, and you still worked in the My Fiance's, the classic. Like this, it should be like a ringtone. Like if they still sold ringtones, it would be a popping ringtone.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And like I said, we are talking Love is Blind Season 2. Again, you're listening to Grill and Geek. We talk many things TV. One of our favorite guilty pleasures is reality TV. We started talking television on this pod with, I think, Jersey Shore, right? That was the first.
We did like a Jersey Shore reality review. We did watch through all the seasons.
Mm-hmm. And then the new stuff we had talked about was The Circle and Love is Blind. I don't know which one was first. I'd have to go back and check out the files.
If my memory is clear, I think it was I was going to say The Circle first. I think it was The Circle first. Because I think I watched The Circle. You watched The Circle. And then you were like, if you like The Circle, you'll like Love is Blind too. You should try it. And so then I ended up watching that and then bing, bang, boom.
Okay.
History ever since.
Yeah. We love the show, and it seems to have. It caught fire when it first came out, but people are like really, really into this new season, and I can see why. It's a completely different vibe. Completely different.
With the way culture picks up shows now, you need to be able to meme it, right? Meme culture with a TV show is what makes it pop off, or at least be able to have something that could, be digestible in a short internet clip or a picture or something like that. And oh boy, did this season have it, Kyle. They had all of it. Like there was at least two characters that were memeable. Like, and I say characters, they're people, but two cast members. And then like just pictures that were memeable throughout it too. Like this season, I don't know what it was or what these casting producers were able to do, but goddamn.
So let's talk about like the energy differences between season 1 and season 2. Season 1, it felt more akin to like actually trying to watch people fall in love and like rooting for people to fall in love. In season 2, there was a little bit more, it's going to sound weird when I say it, but there was a little bit more reality TV to it. Like it felt a little bit more like, well, we're watching this for fun, not necessarily to watch people fall in love. Do you have a preference between the two? Do you think there's a happy medium that needs to follow? Because we talked about it last time. We both really like both seasons. But is there a preference for you?
So, as long as they keep that underlying goal, right? So they say, they don't even call this like a show, right? When they refer to it throughout, like even the reunion, they refer to it as the experiment, right? And that's their like little catchy pitch. But they refer to it as an experiment. And with that, if they keep that underlying experiment aspect true of trying to get people to fall in love, see if people can fall in love, is love truly blind? That's what they ask, right? And if they're able to do that and keep that, then I'm fine with, the production taking the steps to make it more reality-esque, more biteable, because it's working, right? And I still felt happy for some of the cast members this season. I still felt like I was pulling for some of the cast members to find that love. And then even after this season, with some of the things we'll talk about, I'm excited about some of the other cast members' journeys, right? So I do think it's taking a good path. Like it's obviously different. Like the second season's a lot more reality TV, like we said, than the first
Yeah.
season. But you know, it needs to find its footing. And it's working because of the fact, like we said, this second season has blown up on the internet way more than the first season. And it could be editing, it could be the choice of who's on it. It could be a mixture of it all. It could just be like a lucky shot, right? Like with having these people who it just happen to be great TV. But I would say, hey, keep on this path. Don't, you know, full send into just like almost like a Real Housewives just doing things for the reality TV aspect. Like I feel like Real Housewives is like the peak reality TV. I've never seen it. I don't know if that's true, but in my
It
mind,
can get wild. It can get wild.
it's that reality TV that's like this isn't really even reality. It's reality TV entertainment. Like, and for everyone looking, when I said that, I did air quotes, or for everyone listening, I did air quotes. But like it's that concept of a reality TV that people know, where it's like this isn't really real. It's so produced, blah blah blah. I don't want it to go that far. I want it to keep that real because that real is what plays with your heart. That real is what gets you invested in people's relationships and makes you care. And I think it needs that at the heart of it.
I mean, the concept of the show is outright wacky. Not in terms of the initial portion of the experiment, quote unquote, but the reality TV portion of it is them deciding at the altar in front of all their friends and loved ones if they're going to say I do. Seeing people say I don't in front of people it's like teetering on cringe, but also on like the juiciest entertainment possible. So it does have that aspect to it that is unavoidably super reality TV-esque. But I think it works because it almost feels like it's not real. Like that's so far outside of the rules of what social norms are. If you're going to the altar, I feel like most people don't say I don't when they get up there in front of their friends and family, outside of the show at least.
I would say if I had to take a guess, I mean, I would say at least 98% say yes at the altar in
Yeah.
a normal situation. Like, I don't think, I mean, full spoilers, like we said. So
Yeah.
far, it's been 2 out of the couples in each season. And was there 5 couples, 6 couples?
I'll have it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6.
So that's a third, right? That's
Mhm.
a third of the people, 33%. Just if you think of it that way, a little easier. But that's a big difference, right? Like a big difference. But obviously, there's circumstances behind it of them, meeting each other and basically getting married in what, like a month?
I think it's legitimately 4 weeks after they meet
Yeah.
face to face.
So it's not a lot of time to, fully iron out anything, or just to know if you're in love. Like,
Yeah. I mean, it's, the idea of proposing to someone you've never met in person before it's bold, to say the least. It's something that I don't think I'd be able to do. Most people probably wouldn't be able to do it, but it's funny. The I listened to an interview with Nick and Danielle the other day, and they had mentioned that you can't sign up for the show. The show reaches out to you, and I originally it made more sense to me that these people to have signed up for the show, but now understanding that they get reached out for it and they still sign up for it, or they still like are down to do it, that's fascinating to me. Some people on the show, I really understand they're going on to reality TV, and we'll get to them in a little bit. But others, like someone like Ayana, she's so introverted. I'm like shocked that she was down to do it. Maybe she just wanted to try something new in dating, and spoiler alert, it worked out for her. So I'm happy for her. But like people like Shake, it's like, yeah, you were going to get on reality TV at some point, anyways, at some point or another.
So with that in mind, I know Kyle knows I know this, but Kyle knows this. I know, or I have my sister knows someone who was on the show, didn't get really airtime, but just talking about how he got approached because Kyle mentioned the fact that you don't audition, you get chosen, and I mentioned that to her, and she was like, "Oh yeah, like he mentioned that." Um, but I was like, that's so weird. I guess he has like a does he do a like a does he have an online presence? And she was like, not a big one, but he started, and he when he was traveling, he would tag brands, he would tag this, he would like in the hashtags he started like if he like had a picture with a Truly, he would tag Truly, things like that. And I think that's what just kind of they kind
Mm.
of just look for things like that. So it goes to show that all these people were doing that in some aspect, or it would make me think like even Ayana, who is someone who was an introvert, had to be putting herself out on the internet somewhere, because how else do you get seen, right? And then it
Mm.
goes in my mind, like now that I think about that, it's like, how introverted are you if you're trying to get some internet clout?
Well,
Like, I guess
that's
you
true.
could still be introverted and be posting about, maybe it wasn't necessarily about her fully, the profile or page or whatever. It could have been like books, but through her perspective, which isn't necessarily about her. Um, but yeah, like I just it makes you think. And then it makes me think of like if they did switch and do it to an audition process, would there be a higher percentage of people who make it? Um
That's a good question. I Man, if people tried out. Honestly, I think you could see a season where there was zero successful marriages if people signed up for it themselves. Because then you could just get a bunch of people who wanted to be on reality TV.
yeah. But I mean, you could say the same thing with a bachelor or any
That's true.
other love dating uh things, right? Because realistically, just because you're signing up to maybe be on reality TV, and there are going to be those people, the ultimate the thing you want to do is, do you want to fall in love? Do you want to meet people? So on and so forth. Um, and like I said, and as I said earlier, if that is the key aspect, if that is the heart of the show, then I think it will thrive. Like, but obviously there is the chance of no one of 0%. There's also, I think, the chance of 0% doing it this way, right? Just because you're
Yeah.
all doing these influencer type things, there's a good chance that a lot of you won't connect. And that's why I kind of also wonder, do they do like personality profiles with the people that beforehand, like do like when they reach out?
So they you can't go on the show until you pass a series of questions with the producers, I believe. I'm not sure what the questions entailed. Nick didn't speak on that specifically, but he said they were basically to suss out if you wanted to go on the show for the right reasons.
Which
Clearly, with one of them, they failed, but it is what it is. You were going to say?
I was gonna say, which you could do in the application aspect too, right?
Yeah.
Now also, either way, you're gonna get the people who lie. I mean, a show like The Bachelor, Bachelorette, who's been on air for who knows how. I mean, a very long time.
Bachelor
Um,
is on season 25, I think.
which we'll be talking about in the next episode. Just a little plug for our next episode. But it's it still has those issues. I don't think you could work around that because people lie and people are good at it, right? So you could pretend or you could act like you're not there for one reason, where you could definitely tell there's some people who are there for certain reasons.
Yeah. Uh, and you want to get into some of the couples now to try and talk about some whether or not people were there for the correct reasons.
Yes, I do.
So I'm just gonna rattle off all the couples first, and then we'll get into each like grouping. We have Jarrett and Ayana, who wound up getting married. We had Nick and Danielle, also wound up getting married. We had Shane and Natalie. Shane said yes, Natalie said no. We had Shake and Deep D. Deep D said no before Shane could even speak.
Jake.
We had Shayna and Kyle. Shayna left him at the honeymoon portion of the show, didn't even make it to the altar. And we had Mallory and Sal. Sal said no before Mallory could answer. I think, I mean, it's hard to judge on the outside. You never truly know. But I would say out of the 12 people I just listed off, it seemed like 11 were legitimately not just reality TV thirsty. They were actually interested in seeing if this would work. the one outlier being Shake, who maybe was still trying to see if it'll work, but he's just not meant for this type of show, clearly, which he eventually admitted to after a lot of berating on the on the reunion special. Uh, do you want to just kind of get the Shake conversation out of the way?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest the clicky one. I mean,
Yeah. So I had mentioned this on the first attempt of the pod. I feel like there were two stars this season, kind of similar to the stars last season. But last season, the stars were for the most part in a couple together, aside from Barnett. To me, Cameron and Lauren were the main stars, and then Barnett as well was like a big attraction for the show. Great, seemingly great guy. Don't know him personally, but he seems awesome.
I just need to say real quick, I'm proud of you. You didn't call her Lawrence this time, like the Situation's wife.
That's true. Last time,
Kyle's deep into reality TV world, and he loves the Situation, and
yeah,
he referred to Lauren in the first episode as Lawrence.
greatest of all time. um, so this time around, I believe the two stars of the show were Shane and Deep D. Shane just kind of made for good television. He just kind of has that personality that kind of pops on the screen. And Deep D just seems like a wonderful human being. And I just liked, she was like a calming presence on the show. And like just kind of, you were rooting for her the whole time while watching. I don't care who you were. You when you saw Deep D, you were like, I hope this guy treats her right. And I hope that they, if she wants it to, I hope that they make it. And they're doing well. Shake, on the other hand, oh boy. So he probably should have been on a show like Too Hot to Handle, something like that, where it's mostly physical, because in his words, he couldn't get the physical connection to click with Deep D. After proposing to her, well, originally, let's go back to the beginning. Let's rewind a little bit. Shake seemed to turn a lot of people off in the pods with his questioning, asking women essentially about their weight. Quite a few of them asking if they like to work out. Boasting about his veterinarian / DJ lifestyle. It just seemed as though I didn't think he was going to make it past the pods when watching. Did you?
No, to be honest, I thought they were showing him as almost like a blooper type thing. When they
Me
first
too.
started showing him, I thought it was like, because they showed another girl who was boasting about her Instagram following in the pods.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see her. Now, now thinking about it and knowing some details about the person that I have learned about that my sister knows, that might have been his person.
Really?
Yeah, because I know she was like an influence type thing.
Oh man! So
So
this is her name. It was Trisha. And by the way, shout out Trisha. If you're listening out there, I hope you're doing better. I heard that she got like bullied off of Instagram because people were roasting her,
that is
which is
rough.
just that's corny and whack.
Yeah, it's not like just the same if you like with Shake. Like, let him figure out his life on his own. Like, yeah, don't bully him, but if you just don't support him. Like, if you don't want to support him, or if you think he's not a good person or he has bad values or whatever, just don't support him, and that will do the same thing. Like, it won't give him that platform then or whatever. But sorry, that was like a little tangent. Yeah, I don't know. I thought they were showing him as like look at this guy, not on here for the right reason. Like, and then that was gonna be it. And then he made a connection with Deep D, which I think surprised them. You know.
Yeah, and he initially when they first saw, after speaking to each other, realizing they're both Indian and had similar upbringings. I believe both born in India and then were brought over here when they were young. They seemed to have a great connection when they first met each other. Everything seemed copacetic. They were being very physically affectionate at first. And then they get to the honeymoon, and Shake, you can like physically see his energy just shift entirely. He doesn't seem into it at all. He's comparing her to his aunt, which is kind of wild to say about your fiance, by the
So
way.
so crazy. I mean, given Kyle compared Shayna to his mom or whatever, that's why he gave, or
Oh,
he
I thought
said
you were
like
talking about. Okay.
you remind me of your mom or my mom, so that's why I'm proposing you to you with this old ring. Um,
Yes.
but it it's different because Shake was doing it based off of looks, like
Yeah.
you look like you when I look at you, you remind me of my aunt, like which is
Yeah.
like what like
Like saying that,
okay,
uh,
buddy, like
even if you have that thought, if you have any like self awareness as to whether or not people are going to view you as like a nice guy or not, why would you say that out loud to people in the cast and crew as well as to the camera? Like, how do you not think you're going to come off as like a jerk? Unless
I
he
don't
did all this on purpose and like tried to be a villain. I don't know.
I don't think he had that self awareness. Like when he would say it, he almost sounded like he. I mean, for the fact that he was asking those questions in the beginning, I don't think he thinks they're necessarily bad things. I think he thinks it's more of like, oh, it's just kind of that's how I feel, so I'm just gonna ask it, or it's just kind of how I feel, so I'm gonna say it. Not, if I say this, will it offend someone, or if I say this, will it hurt someone? Because I don't think it's hurtful, or I don't think asking this or saying this is necessarily bad. It's just it's just how I feel. Um, I that's what I truly. I mean, once again, it's just a thought. That's how I truly think or feel. That's what he was thinking and feeling. Like,
Yeah, I mean, as you can tell, we're trying not to like bury this dude.
yeah,
We we hope he figures it out.
there was. I mean, I said it to Kyle. I was texting as I was watching through the episodes. I was like, "Are we getting a Shake redemption arc?" Because there was some time there where he was like, "Oh, um, he might not be attracted to her, but he's trying. He's working. Like it looked like he was trying to, and he was gonna try to push through, and because he knew there was such a good romantic connection. But he then it just got worse, and he doubled down, and then he's what? Who did he talk? Shane, right? That he said something to Shane, and Shane was like whoa, like, did you just say that? And then he kind of was like, yeah, but like, you could work through it, like, and like, when you have one of the guys who you had, like, who you were hanging out with off when you weren't in the pods, like, you probably
They
broed out
seemed
a
like
little bit,
friends.
yeah. When you catch them off guard with a comment like that, it's bad, like, and
Yeah.
that's what it looked like. It looked like he caught Shane off guard, like, which is crazy to think about.
And Shane even told him, you're here for a reason. Give this a shot.
Yeah.
Has that worked out for you before? And it hasn't.
Mhm.
Uh, Shake, I had followed Shake on Instagram prior to the reunion, and then had to unfollow because that was rough. Um, he got a chest tattoo that reads "Is love enough?" Uh, as if to say that love is not enough for a marriage. I guess I don't know.
Hmm.
I guess is saying that he needs physical attraction as well. And I just want to say, Deep D is not unattractive. She's a very attractive person. Inside, mostly, most importantly, She seems like a wonderful person, but as well as on the
Yeah.
outside.
Thousand
So,
percent.
I just wanted to flat out say that, and respectfully so. I disagree with Shake entirely in regards to Deep D. I think he lost out on like a possible, or not possible, a probable incredible life partner that she would seem to be. Although someone who we'll talk about later on seems to be benefiting from his L. And I hope that works out for them. I don't really have anything else to say about Shake. Do you?
No, just that I hope he reflects. I hope there's some therapy or something involved where he can just kind of figure out why the things he says comes off the way it does and hurts people. Because, like, I mean, real quick, just even at the reunion, like
Yeah.
when he was talking to, now I can't remember the hosts, Nick Lachey. When he was
Oh,
talking to Nick Lachey,
yeah. We
and
should talk about that.
he mentions, like, I'm not really attracted to anyone here. except for Vanessa, which is Nick Lachey's wife, and he says it to Nick Lachey, and or he says it to Vanessa, and it's like, bro, like, you just said that about someone's wife who is sitting, like, they're sitting right next to each other, and then that's when, like, Nick Lachey has the great one-liner of now I can't remember. Golly,
It
I'm
was
so
something to the
upset.
effect of, "I'm glad you're a vet because you clearly don't know how to
Yes.
treat humans."
Oh, and then Shake responds with, wow, the veterinarian community is gonna be really offended by that. Like, and genuinely meant that. Like didn't even get the fact that he wasn't dissing vets and veterinary community, like the veterinarian community. He was dissing you, like the who you are, or the fact that Shake's mom went to Deep D before the wedding, right, and was like, "Do what you feels right. You don't deserve anyone who's not gonna give you 100%." Like, when your mom is saying that to someone that you're in a relationship with, there's a problem. Like, when it gets back to mom's and she doesn't have her son's back. Like,
Yeah.
so final thought is literally just, I hope he gets what he needs. I hope he can learn and grow and move forward, because I do think there's a good guy in there. I feel like we saw bits and pieces of that, and he has a good family, it looks like, from what we saw from his mom. So just that's all I hope. But Deep D is a beautiful soul, and I hope she finds someone that could give her that 100%, because she, like you said, she was like a breath of fresh air throughout the whole thing. And given now, like we always say, that could be the edit, but I don't think it is, because everybody on that cast said that about her. Not a single person had something bad to say. Not a single person gave her a side look or like oh, I can't believe you acted like this or did that. It was just good stuff about Deep D.
And the her castmates were the ones, and I'm assuming producers as well, were the ones that told her, "Hey, say no," because he's saying messed up stuff about you. We know for a fact that Jarrett and Shane, who were seen talking to Shake quite a bit throughout the season, both went to Deep D and said, "Hey, he's saying really weird and messed up things about you. You cannot marry this guy. You need to say no." So and shout out the show for having her speak first. I think that was done on purpose.
Here's my question. Do
Go ahead.
you think I'm sorry. Do you think that they should have showed the other people, like, addressing her, like talking to her? Like, do you think that would have been fun, or do you think it would have given away the fact that she was going to say no, like, and it would
I
have taken away
think
that fun of it?
I think in a flashback they could have done it. Because correct me if I'm wrong. From what I gathered, the whole time it seemed as though she was going to say yes.
Yeah. And I think obviously that was the fun of it. Like, are they gonna say yes? Like the misdirect. But yeah, like a flashback, I think it would have been fun, because it also will make you like the other people that much more. Because the guys who did go to her and say, "Hey, he's been talking like this or talking like that," when I found that out, I liked them more. I was like, "Oh, they're good guys." Like, for the fact that they reached out, because they were like, "We don't want her to get hurt or go live a life like this that was someone that it's not right." It just that's a good person. I feel like they should have shown it.
Yeah, I at least would have loved to have seen that footage on the reunion. But I think there's a lot of stuff we didn't get to see. I don't know if they didn't film them all the time. I don't know if there was like filming schedule. I don't know. It just and by the way, there was a lot of stuff apparently on the cutting room floor, which we can get into a little bit here and there. Uh, should we talk about who she might be dating right now?
Yeah, let's throw it in. It feels like a good segue.
It seems as though she's dating Kyle from the show, who was engaged for like 24 hours to Shayna. Kyle and Shayna, two religiously opposed figures. Kyle is a very, very much an atheist, and I believe her in science primarily. And Shayna is a devout Christian, and I believe an evolution disbeliever. I believe that was at one point a talking point.
Yeah.
Shayna was in love with Shane, even admitting it after getting proposed to by Kyle. She was, at least did not drag it out until the wedding. I'll give her that. She seemed to be trying to figure things out a lot throughout the show. Didn't really know what to do. I felt bad for Kyle for the most part because he seemed like a good guy.
Yeah, and I think he
But
just wanted to give it an honest shot.
yeah,
Because even when she said no or whatnot, he was like, "Yeah, but like we should try. Like I think it's worth a try. Like let's just give it a go." And I think they portrayed her. I think she was portrayed on the show. And who knows if it came off like this in real life? But on the show, they portrayed her as the second baddie. Like not
yeah,
as
she was like a
bad,
villain.
not as bad, but like the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, just I mean the fact that she would go and do the one say yes, like we everyone saw you didn't want to say yes, like the faces you made and the looks and the delay and all that. And now, given I don't blame him for not realizing that she didn't want to say no when you're in the pod because it has to be disorienting.
I'm sure.
Just only being able to hear someone. So it just like that one saying yes and then going to Shane after and like
Yeah.
that's just foul. And then when you do meet Kyle still going forward and then going to Mexico and then leaving, like I mean you had options beforehand to not do it. It kind of almost felt like you just the pressure of having to say yes to a proposal was there for her, but it's
Do you
just
think?
I felt bad.
Do you, do you think she got a worse edit than Jessica did in season one?
Ooh, ooh,
I
that's a
I
hard. See that edit isn't necessarily on the top of my brain right now, so I can't say yay or nay like full comparison. But I
I
do.
don't
I
think
would
she got a
still.
worse one.
No, I don't
I
think
think
so. I would still say Jessica got the worst edit out of the either two of them
in the
because
show's history so far, I would say
yeah,
she got
because
portrayed as like a total bad person.
and I don't think she was that bad. Like I do think
No, I don't think so either.
there may have been some animosity, there may have been some of that there, but I don't think it was as bad as they portrayed. Like that season, like we said at the top of the episode, this one was more reality TV esque just by what the people were doing and who the characters of who these people were. I think they had to edit that reality TV esqueness into the first season. Like there was drama there, but I don't think it was enough. I don't think it was at the same level as this season.
No,
This
no.
season it was just there, and then the edits enhanced it. Where the first season, the edits are what made it.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree. Because in season one, most of the outcomes you could see coming. Most of them.
Yeah.
In season two, I was wrong about at least half of the couples.
I told
at
you
least.
I had a coworker who predicted every single one incorrectly. Every couple predicted incorrectly. Which I'm just like that's why. Except obviously not Kyle and Shayna because that was we did the prediction
Yeah,
right before the wedding episode. But still wild. Like they got us. Like they did it really well.
yeah, 100%. But with Kyle and Shayna very clearly wanted someone who was spiritually aligned with her, which that's fair for anyone to have that as like a preference, to be within the same belief system. Kyle seemed to be, again, he was looking for someone who reminded him of his mother. Used his mother's ring. Bad look, uh, just because his mom didn't know and it was a failed engagement. So it's kind of like, hey, that's unfortunate. But hopefully the next woman he gives it to, it does work out. Pulling for you,
Yeah.
Kyle. And so that's kind of all we can say about Kyle. But aside from him possibly dating Deepti right now, he said in the reunion that he wishes he had gone after Deepti in the pods, which I was like, whoa.
He basically said he loved her.
Yeah.
It was like, which it means that they probably talked more in the pods than they showed. Which I'm like, hey, I want to see this. Like, but I hope they do. And if they do date, I want a full episode on that. Like, cause you know how they do that later, like Where Are They Now almost episode, or at
Yeah.
least
Mhm.
what they did with the first season. Hopefully they do it again. If that is true and they are dating, I want a full episode devoted to them too. To give them the time that they deserved, right? For being genuine people in it, to be in it and wanting to find love, right?
Yes,
Because you
absolutely.
know I love love.
Don't we all? But with Shayna, she was involved, as we referenced before, in a love triangle with Shane, too close of a name if you ask me, and Natalie.
I just have to say these segues are beautiful, and thank you to just those people for being able to have all these triangles to
Yeah,
set it up.
yeah. It makes bouncing around really easy. I'm looking at my notes and I'm like, all right, we're going in a pretty good direction here. Uh, so let's talk Shane and Natalie first, and then talk about Shayna's involvement with their relationship.
Yeah.
Shane, who I believe is the star from the men's portion of the show this season, the primary star, very conventionally attractive dude. I thought he was a ginger. You said he's not, which fair
Yeah.
enough.
But hey, I'll give it to you. In certain lighting, it is it's a close thing.
Yeah,
He's like a
I
straw.
guess
Well, you know what? We'll average it. He's a strawberry blonde.
boom, there we go. He's dating in the pods both Natalie and Shayna. Natalie and Shane seem very different from each other than Shane and Shayna. Shane and Shayna are, I believe, both of them the same religious belief system. They are. I don't think they both know this, but they're both white. They don't know this in the pods, at least I should say. They definitely know it now. They have the same name, basically separated by like 2 letters. They have a very like sexual relationship in the pods. Shane is asking her every time he not sees her but talks to her, "What are you wearing?" And he goes, "Oh, that's hot." Uh, and with Natalie, it's a very different relationship. Natalie seems much more reserved at first than Shane, and once they eventually Shane asks Natalie to be his girlfriend. Shayna finds out, she's upset. Shane has a moment where we think he's going to be the villain of the show because of the way he reacts to Natalie getting upset that Shane called Natalie Shayna's name. So Shane's through a roller coaster of emotions throughout the pod. He finally proposes to Natalie. And then in the outside world, you instantly start to see a bit of a tip there. Natalie is a much more sarcastic personality and shows love through almost through
Joking,
teasing.
roasting. Yeah, roasting
Yeah.
each other. Like,
And Shane clearly, I mean, I've heard people say it all the time. What's the word? Affirmation. He likes,
he needs words of affirmation. That's his love language, is words of affirmation.
yeah, he wants to be told he's good looking, that he's good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to say this about Shane real quick. Shane doesn't seem like a bad guy. He actually seems like a good guy who seems to have been going through a lot at the
Yes,
time.
because his dad died. What do they say, a month before the show?
I think it was within a 3-month span of him going
Which
on the show.
makes me assume that he signed up for the show. His dad passed away, and then he was like, I already like signed a contract, or I already did. I feel like I still have to go and give it a shot. And
Yeah.
I mean, just what we've seen from his personality on the show, like you said, he seems like a good guy. The possible nervous tics or facial twinges, whatever that was stemming from, it just seems like he was going through something throughout
Yeah.
his whole journey.
And this is a non-roasting Shane pod. We support him. Really hope he's doing well, and hope he's feeling better. He had a couple of emotional outbursts that seemed to really get the best of him.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
and when you talk, you could tell when he talks on the reunion, it seems like he's gone to therapy or something, but he definitely was very introspective, took a lot of the blame. He did want some of an apology from Natalie.
Yeah, he did.
But I think that just goes back to the words of affirmation thing. I think it's like, hey, like, still, can you please tell me I'm not horrible? Like, he needed to hear
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
I don't think he wanted to look like Shake. I think that was the major thing. Like he didn't want to come off being Shake levels of almost bad or
Yeah.
bad negative minded, let's put it that way. But he seemed so remorseful because they brought up the fact that him and Shayna met up after the show, and he just like it looked like someone like took his heart like and ripped it out of his chest because he knew Natalie was sitting there and he didn't want her to hear it. And they said that him and Natalie gave it a shot after the show, right?
Yes, and that Natalie wasn't able to move past their final fight.
And that's the thing. Like I think he was still into it. Like he still wanted to pursue that relationship. And I think it was her that was like, I can't. Like and I think at that reunion he was still devastated. Like he looked heartbroken.
And he emphasized a lot that he and Shayna had nothing physical happen.
Yeah.
A lot he emphasized that.
Yeah.
And he shut down a couple times in the reunion special. He didn't answer some questions because he just
because he looked
would refuse to speak.
And that's where I go to the fact that he looks remorseful. He and that shows that there is a good person there. There's a very good person there who looks like they're hurting, and is apologetic and wants to change from what he did, to be that better person. So although he was the meme on the internet due to some of his looks, yeah,
Yeah.
it's rough to see. It was still rough to see him like that. Like it broke my heart a little bit to see how much he was hurting.
It was upsetting for sure. But he and Natalie seemed to. I thought they were going to make it. I thought they were doing well.
Yeah.
After the first initial fights, Natalie also got proposed to by someone else in the pods, but they didn't show it, and I still don't know who proposed to her. I don't know if it was someone that we had seen. Well, I'm sure it was someone we saw. I just don't know who it was.
Yeah.
Again, Netflix released the tapes. Hashtag release the Netflix cut. But they're good up until literally the night before with the bachelor party and the bachelorette party.
She said she was gonna say yes. She
Yes.
said up until that fight, I was gonna say yes. And
before we touch on that fight, let's rewind a little bit because we glossed over the love triangle.
Oh, true. Yeah, good point.
In terms of in the outside world. So as we mentioned before, Shayna leaves Kyle in Mexico. Eventually, when they're back in Chicago, Shayna gives Kyle the ring back after a very awkward meeting with her family and him. And then at a cast reunion on the beach, it is revealed to us that the night before, Shayna told Natalie if Natalie and Shane didn't work out, that Shayna had someone for Natalie to date.
Mm-hmm.
We then learned that Shayna and Natalie seemed to be very friendly with each other. I didn't realize that they were friends. I thought they were just cool while they were at the pods.
Yeah.
But apparently it was a little bit more than that. And Shayna and Shane have a very awkward conversation where it seems as though Shayna's like trying to flip the situation around on them.
Yeah.
She was again, we don't know the. Go ahead.
It seemed like she was trying to create a rift.
That's what the edit seemed like. I don't know what was real or what wasn't, but it looked kind of wild.
Yeah.
And very awkward. It was a weird watch. There was a couple of situations like this season where I was kind of like, well, what's happening though? What happened here? And that's why people assumed that Shayna and Shane, again, I can't get over that as a couple name. That would be very awkward. They thought people thought that they like hooked up after the show or were dating or whatever. And again, according to Shane, they haven't.
Yeah.
We thought maybe that was going to break them up. It didn't. Fast forward until the night before the wedding, Shane gets very emotional and drinks at the bachelor party. I believe the bachelor party was the night before the wedding. Comes home. He's upset at the bachelor party because he does poorly at the baseball portion of the event. Says that Sal doesn't look like he's ever hit a baseball in his life and did better than him. Rough look. Right. And then, probably. I mean, Sal sings opera. You know, how many opera singers do you know are out here crushing baseballs? They go back. Shane and Natalie have a really big fight. Shane says some mean things. Shane says yes at the altar. And that fight ultimately makes Natalie realize that there's stuff that they haven't worked through, or that she is so hurt by what happened the night before that she might not be able to move past it. And she says no. This shocked me a lot. I firmly believe that they were going to make it. Firmly. This was my upset of the season, I think.
I would agree
Them
on
two
that.
breaking
Yeah,
up.
100%. Because the next couple, obviously, I think what might be the next couple, Sal and Mal. There was some risks there, which we'll get into, but this one I thought they were a lock. Like they fought, they argued, but they also seemed like they could work through it. Like from what we were able to see, it seemed like they were able to, all those little arguments beforehand, they were able to work through and make it past it. And yeah, I just thought they both were into each other that much that it was.
Yeah, they both seem like they were going to try and make it work, like their best, but ultimately they didn't. It's unfortunate. I'm hoping them both are doing well. I'm wishing them both the best. Again, it seemed like Natalie was really into the fact that Shane was quite different from her. But again, maybe they weren't meant to be together. And hopefully they're both doing well now. As to Mallory and Sal, Nick Lachey during the reunion said that he could not get a read on them. And I agree. I didn't. Number one, I found them to be the least interesting couple on the show. Number two, I just didn't know who was going to say what at any time. At any time.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was Sal who said no was the part that shocked me the most.
Yeah, that was the most shocking thing. I thought it was Mallory for sure, because Mallory is a kind-hearted Shake. I think she had Shake syndrome in the sense of not being attracted to Sal, which is unfortunate, and I think is a part of the show. I think that's something people don't want to admit necessarily, but is a big aspect of the show. You need to be attracted to the person that you're with, right? And she described the people she was attracted with when she was talking to Jarrett, which we'll get into that conversation, and it is not Sal. Not at all. Now
even personality wise.
And the thing is, you could appreciate that he's handsome, right? She might appreciate that he's handsome. She might think like, yeah, I could see that he's a good looking person, but I'm not attracted to him. And there's no shame in that, because she didn't say anything to hurt him in that aspect, like, except for maybe talk to Jarrett, which, should we get into that right now?
Yeah, let's talk about the love triangle in the pods. This is the next love triangle, which will segue us to our next couple once we're done with these two. Jarrett, Mallory, Sal. Jarrett and Sal seem to be acquainted, not friends, but acquainted in the pods. Yeah. Both dating Mallory. While it was actually a love square, or like a love rhombus, whatever you want to call it. Jarrett was also dating Ayanna, who eventually he proposes to, and we'll get into that later on. Jarrett proposes to Mallory first. Mallory says no. Jarrett is crushed beyond belief, and we're going to pause on Jarrett and the pods for right now.
Looks like he might leave the show.
It's verging on that. Mallory says Sal is her person. This is after, of course, Sal had serenaded her, one of many to come. Some people did not enjoy watching Sal sing on the show. Some people just don't like watching him singing. Sal proposes to Mallory. They meet each other, and right away, it seems like Mal is kind of not into it.
Yeah.
And I think you might be right. I think it might have been an attraction thing. Because
you can't necessarily blame anyone for that, right? If
I'm not.
If the spark's not there, if the chemistry's not there, it's not there, and it's. I mean, I guess it's something you could try to build, but also, it's hard.
Yeah, but at least she didn't say anything wild about him.
Yeah.
But it gets to the point where Sal cries to the camera during the honeymoon portion of the show and says, "I don't think my fiance finds me attractive."
Yeah,
that sucked to see. That was a tough watch.
Definitely heartbreaking.
Yeah, and that came after what you had alluded to earlier, with Jarrett and Mallory having a very inappropriate conversation for two engaged people. Mm-hmm. Jarrett tells tells Mallory that She probably doesn't like her engagement ring because he didn't ask her what type of material she wanted it to be. But Jarrett knew that she liked gold.
Mm-hmm.
Mallory says that she wanted a guy who resembled Jarrett, I guess visually and interest wise. Again, really rough stuff. There was a cut. If you watch it back, there's a cut where they make it look like their feet are almost touching when they weren't, but they made it like they sold us on the fact that maybe they were going to leave their significant others for each other.
Yeah.
I thought that might happen. I really did. Especially when that episode first came out, you and I were talking, and I was like, dude, I think she's going to leave. They're going to leave their current partners for each other, and they might wind up getting married. And that might be like the juiciest thing to ever happen on the show. And then Mallory, they both go their separate ways. Mallory and Sal are living together. There's a weird instance where Sal's ex something, I don't know what specifically the woman's relationship to Sal was, went to his sister's house and was like badgering about like where he was or something. Really weird situation they didn't expand upon at all. And we didn't see it all, but Mal and Sal had a fight. It was very strange. And it seemed as though they had worked past everything. Sal made her his famous stir fry. I don't know how famous it was. I'd never heard of it up until the show.
I don't know how famous it was. I never heard of it.
Sal hits her with the famous line, "My fiance's hot like Beyonce," in a song, which she seemed to be really into. They get to the wedding. I'm assuming maybe Mallory's going to say no. Sal goes first, and he says no. And you know for a fact Mallory's sister is pissed.
Yeah.
She was not into it from the beginning.
Mm-mm.
I don't know if and then Sal made it seem as though he wasn't heard by Mallory whenever they had conversations or fought. I don't know specifically what that means, but it seemed as though there was some trouble in paradise. I don't think either of them are bad people.
No.
I just do not think they were a good match for each other at all.
I agree. And it's a sad one because of the fact that, you know, they like you said, they both seem like really great people. They both seem like they did care for each other. There was an emotional connection. It was there. And I think Sal found her attractive. And I think it just wasn't reciprocated, right?
Yeah.
Which is just, it's unfortunate. It's part of the show. It is what it is. But shout out both of them for giving it an honest go. They even say after the show they try again, right?
Yeah.
And they give it an honest go. And even after the show, both of them were respectful towards each other. They said nothing but kind words. And Sal wanted to emphasize that we did our best. Like, none of us were at fault. We tried.
And Mallory's Jer Bear was engaged to Ayana, who, along with Deep T, Ayana seemed like one of the coolest people in the history of the show. She seemed so dope. Someone who you'd like want to get like a coffee with and just talk about life or whatever, just get to know. Her and Jarrett get along from the beginning of the pods. Ayana has like an iconic laugh, I think, at this point. Everyone knows what she sounds like when she's laughing. You know it's her immediately, even if you're not looking at the screen. They seem pretty smooth throughout the entire show. There seems to be like the only tiff between them. There's two. Ayana is aware that the same day the same day that Jarrett proposed to Mallory in the pods, he went and proposed to Ayana right afterwards. And shout out to Jarrett for being honest about it, though. He did say, "I proposed to someone just now." Mm-hmm. Ayana is worried that she's being the second choice.
Worried. She was going through it, and she had a right to. Like, to the fact that she didn't answer or say yes or anything, she walked out. And, like, even in the hallway,
I forgot that.
She had to stop walking and just squat and just kind of go through it for a moment. And because, like, think about how devastated you would feel. Like, you're falling in love with someone, or you're building this connection, and they tell you, "I just proposed to someone else." Like,
yeah. That's
Oh
rough.
my gosh, like crazy.
That was rough. That was really, really rough. Bad look, Jarrett. Bad look. Um, he, I guess, did they come back together and he tries again, or does she tell him to try again? I can't remember.
Um, they don't really they don't really say. I think they just show them entering the pods again, and he kind of does another pitch of love,
Mm,
and there you go.
okay. So they get engaged. They seem really physically into each other. Everything seems really good. They both share some really traumatic stuff. Hope both of them are doing okay. I'm not going to get into any of that at all because we don't know any of the stories and it's none of our business really. They get back to home in Chicago, and it's shown that Jarrett might love going out a little bit too much. He
Which he mentioned. He
apparently,
he mentioned the pod. He said, "I like to go out with the boys."
but apparently, my friend, he has a mobile hookah business. Don't know what that means, but
All right.
all right. Yeah. Shout out him. I hope it's doing well.
Like,
Um,
does that mean you go to people's houses or their backyards, like barbecue, and you bring your hookah setup? Like,
maybe I would assume. Do you need like a license for hookah?
I have no idea.
Me neither.
Like, let's just both agree. All right, unique.
Yeah, cool and interesting business strategy. And he was going out until past like 4 a.m., which you and I have basically never done. That's insane. I can't. My body,
Just
I would crash.
that's yeah. You're like yeah. That's you need to be a certain person to be able to do that or live that lifestyle.
Yeah,
And neither of us are that. Neither of us
no.
are that.
Ayana's more of an introvert. So now she's battling both those things. And she's thinking, am I second fiddle? And is he ready to give up some of that lifestyle to be with me? Uh, are they able to kind of coexist in that regard? They get to the wedding. Uh, Jared gives Ayana, I believe, all white Air Force, not Air Force Ones, all white Air Max 90s, I think was the shoe, which we both agreed last time. You can
I
get married in sneakers. It's okay if
love it
that's your
because
life.
it's your personality showing into your wedding. It makes it personal, especially with a wedding like this where they didn't get to choose a venue. They don't get to choose those
Yeah, I
things.
don't think so.
They get to do certain things like the style of the wedding. Like they had his dad. Uh, I can't think of the name. What's that
Be the
guy's name?
official.
Yeah, there we go. Um, but you don't really get to do much. So it even more you need to personalize it in some way. And I love that idea of like they both were sneakerheads and they got to wear their sneakers.
I agree. Uh, they Jarrett says yes first, and it's kind of all hinging on Ayana, and she eventually says yes. And I was happy because that was one I predicted would work after seeing them in Chicago. Again, I thought that they were gonna he was gonna leave her at first, but it wound up being okay. I'm happy for them. They're still together. They seem pretty happy. They seem to have. They said that it was hard work, which
Yeah,
I like that they were realistic about it and said
yeah,
that it wasn't easy.
I
But
agree.
they seem
And
to have worked through things. I was worried about that her seeing that conversation with Mallory and Jarrett. I was like, do you think she left him after
yeah,
that?
and so just going to the whole hard work thing. I'm very glad that they were able to push through it because when you see them get married, there is that thought of I don't know if they're gonna make it though, right? Like because their lifestyles are so drastic, and they do talk in the reunion like, we both have made compromises. Like she'll go out more and he'll stay in. Like so they both have. He's toned back his going out. She's dialed up her going out. Um, which is that's healthy. Like that's what you need in a
Yeah,
relationship is to be able to do that compromise. So that makes me excited because I think that will give them a bright future. And they seem like they're still in love. Like they seem like they're definitely still love each like smitten. Um, but playing that conversation, that clip, because they said they both saw it, but they didn't watch it together. And then as Nick Lachey goes, "Oh God, we just showed it to you while you guys were sitting next to each other." Like I'm
yeah,
sorry. He literally apologizes. He goes, "I'm sorry." Like I'm sorry. Yeah, it's because you could see that both of them were physically uncomfortable watching it together with Mallory in the room. Like, that is the worst case scenario. Like,
That was rough.
yeah, but hopefully they're still good, because they made it through. And I think if you could make it through hardships like that, then you it's a strong base to start that relationship off with.
Yeah, I agree. And finally, we are at Nick and Danielle, who hold the crown for the funniest scene in the history of the show, in my opinion. Uh, it's you can see it on the Love Is Blind Instagram account. It involves corn and hot dog. That's all I'll say about that. These two, from the beginning of the show in the pods, seemed like a perfect match. Originally, I'm like, these two are going all the way without a doubt.
They were the first ones to get engaged. Like,
Mm-hmm.
from what the edit makes it look like, relatively quick, which I think maybe not. Maybe they all kind of get engaged within the same window.
That's what I'm thinking.
But they are shown to us as the first to get engaged. And you're like, yeah, makes sense. They work. It's kind of like the Cam and Lauren from season 1. They got engaged. They were the first to get engaged, and you're like, completely makes sense. I have no qualms with that. Good for them.
Yeah. And that was one you knew the entire time that they were going to get engaged. Or get married. There was no doubt in my mind with them. But at the honeymoon, we get little sprinkling of some chaos between the two. Starts off, Danielle realizes Nick makes his own toothpaste. That's interesting. It's homemade.
Then he goes, I made my own deodorant too. Or I don't know if he still did, but he mentioned it.
He did. And Danielle tried the toothpaste, and let's just say she didn't like it.
She said I brushed my teeth with regular toothpaste afterwards. I thought was hilarious.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd be able to try it, to be honest with you. I would just kind of, okay, you do that. I'll keep using my I'm not going to name a brand on here because we're not sponsored. So no free ads on this side.
Shout out toothpaste brands. If you want to sponsor us, hit us up.
Yeah. Hit us up in the emails. And then we get the real first sign of bad news between the two of them, where they seem to just fight all the time on the show. It starts off with a fight in Mexico on their honeymoon. And I don't think we actually, you and I, fully know what happened. There's an Instagram out there by Danielle kind of saying what it was. I believe what happened, and I'm just paraphrasing here from what I remember, I read this a couple weeks ago. She said that she had shared something with Nick, I believe, and she felt as though she overshared, and then she had like an anxiety attack about that. And on the show, the edit made it seem like she didn't trust him around the women.
Yeah.
Which I don't think that's what it was at all. But again, I don't have. Do you have any clarity as to what it was specifically? I don't think so.
Not really.
And then I'll just kind of go over some of the other fights. We get another fight where it seems as though she felt that Nick was downplaying meeting her family. That's how she felt. There was another one in which it kind of seemed as though she made it seem as though he was either not caring as much or didn't seem as interested anymore or something like that. And then I believe there was another one. And they made it seem as though she was sabotaging the relationship and that Nick was like kind of cringing at it and like walking away. There was also a not a fight, but definitely a disagreement about their apartment living. Danielle liked to have rock band drums out, her costumes laid out. There was a sign on her table that said, "Please don't break the table." That's a little Jersey Shore flashback, my dude, because as you know, the situation had to save the table in Miami, had to pull away the table, make sure nothing happened to the table. Danielle just living up to the reality TV GOAT standards. Um, then there's a scene in which, again, Nick asks her, "So you just host things and you'll just show up to the door in a hot dog costume?" And Danielle's like, "Yep," and it's just amazing. And then we get, and their family's wildly different. Danielle's family is asking them about their sex lives, which, woof,
Yeah,
nightmare,
crazy, crazy. And Kyle knows I have a family who's open about things, but we're not doing that. We are not
nightmare
having
scenario.
we are not having a conversation about if our new relationship, if our sex life is good. Please and thank you.
And the Nick's mom was very much like, "This isn't going to work." Very in doubt of the whole experiment, as you phrased it. We then get to the wedding, and man, I've never seen. I'm a sweaty guy. I've never seen someone sweat like this.
Melting.
Sweating through his pants. It looked like he peed himself.
I didn't notice that.
He mentions it while they're walking down the aisle. He's like, "It looks like I peed because I'm sweating so much." It must have been hot that day because he said originally when I saw the sweat, I was like, "Oh no, he's gonna say no, and this is gonna be rough.
Yeah.
This is gonna be one of those." But no, he was just hot, I guess, and picked the wrong color suit. If you're trying to hide sweat, folks, gray is literally the worst color. Literally the worst. And I'm assuming that suit was not a thick material, so it couldn't absorb the sweat. It was just going right through. They both say yes. Tell me I'm not the only one who was shocked by this.
Oh no, I was definitely shocked too because the edit made it look like that relationship was sabotaged. That she was too anxious to go through with it. He was, like you said, cringed or put off by her anxiousness or the way that she was acting. And it kind of looked like it was just crumbling. So it was like, whoa, okay. Didn't think they were gonna say yes, which was wild because we were like, they're a lock when they got engaged, and then it went to like just demise, and then all of a sudden it's like yes, and then you find out in the reunion they were a lock the whole time. Like
Yeah,
they were like, well, now, especially after reunion, they live together in the real world. They're like, yeah, we realized a lot of the fights we were having, the things we were arguing about, weren't real. Like it was just a pressure situation. We don't argue. Like we're doing really well. Like
yeah,
he dons costumes when they have house parties all the time. She said he's the first one to dance on the tables at their parties. She's just throwing him under the bus left and right about all the childish things he was clowning her about.
yes. And his costume is the worst one because he's wearing a ranch costume.
Yeah. So
Good grief.
yeah. So yeah, I like ranch, but Kyle, that is he might dislike him as a person. That's how much he hates ranch.
He seems like a nice guy, but the ranch costume I'm hard out on. And I'm happy for them. The interview that they had, they both seemed like really happy with each other. And even at the reunion, they seemed like they were doing really well. I believe they had said that they were working on things as well. And
yeah, they mentioned going to couple therapy.
Was that them?
Yeah.
Okay, so which good for them for doing that within the first year of being together. They seem to be doing really well. I'm happy for them. I hope that if they do the "Where Are They Now" special, that they give Danielle a better edit, and not the way that they gave her this one. Shayna got the most villainous edit, but Danielle, I would say, got the least flattering edit out of all the women.
I agree with both those statements. It's definitely it was rough all around with those.
Yeah, they didn't really show her being like happy that often.
And I think that goes back to the old ways of editing to make the reality TBS aspect. They felt like they needed to, punch up this situation, punch up that situation. So they edited this person this way, edited this person that way. And then that's how it all panned out.
Yeah. But that's basically it for all the couples.
Yeah.
I want to give a side shout out to the hosts, Nick and Vanessa Lachey. I think they did a really good job.
Yeah.
They're not there for a long time, but they are there for a good time.
Yeah, when they are there, they do make it work. They also are going to be hosting that new reality TV show, which looks like there's going to be a lot of moments where I'm uncomfortable watching it. I don't remember. Do you remember what it's called?
It is called The Ultimatum, I believe.
The Ultimatum, yeah, and definitely gonna watch that.
Look out for a pod on that in the future.
And shout out them for doing these hosting jobs and doing it well. Like you said, they added to it. They were very kind. This reunion that they did, I really enjoyed because it was real. Like it looked like they didn't like a lot of reunions. It's like, okay, let's cause an argument and let's watch it happen, or let's berate this person, let's berate that person. And although there was some of that with like obviously the Shake thing, it they were doing it in a way that was like, hey, we're trying to let you know, like to help you self-realize that like what you're doing here is a little wild. And they're really good at that hosting job, like you said.
Yes. And I thought what would be fun to close out the pod is, why don't you and I give the people who we wouldn't mind seeing their journeys continue, like maybe on another reality show in some way, or just like a web series. I don't know, something where we could see their journey to find love continue. Would you like to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I could right off the top of my head, I know.
Go for
I
it.
want to see Jared and Ayana. I want to see their relationship blossom.
Okay.
I think they would be fun. I would like to see Deepti and Kyle if they do end up dating. I would like to see them. I wouldn't mind seeing Shane on a dating reality TV show of some sort. I don't really.
He was my number one pick.
Exactly what, but because I want him to find love. I want to see him happy. I wouldn't mind seeing Mal on a dating show. Not Mal, sorry. Sal. I wouldn't mind seeing Sal on a dating show.
Interesting. Okay.
The rest of, I guess Mal too, but the rest I'm just like neither here nor there.
Okay.
Like I hope that everyone else lives good lives, but just don't need to see you on shows.
I would agree with I think the ones who would make the best TV are Jarrett and Ayana, Deepti and Kyle, and Shane. I think those would make the best reality TV folks. I don't know if Shane can handle it, but
yeah,
those are the ones who like I think would make for the best reality TV. On top of that, I don't think we've seen the last of Shake. I think that he's going to get cast in something.
Yeah.
My question to you is, if he's cast in a show with a great premise, would you watch it even though he's on it?
I would watch it as like if I like the show. I'm not watching it because of him.
Me neither.
If it's a show that like, I know Netflix is working on new reality shows, other than just this Ultimatum, because shout out our boy Joey from The Circle. I know he was on something else. I don't know what it is, but I know, and I don't think it's out or what's going on with that. But I remember him mentioning that he was going to be on another show. So they are working on new things that they're gonna push. So if it is an interesting concept, like we said, cool, I'll watch it and hopefully form a different opinion about Shake. But I'm not watching it for Shake or for Shake's journey.
Last question. You mentioned The Circle. Who on this cast, pick one person, do you think would do the best on The Circle and that you'd like love to see the most?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I'm gonna say, I think I would want to see Deepti the most on The Circle.
Interesting. Yeah, I think
because
she would do well because she's
very you and I like people who are nice on The Circle the most.
Genuine, yeah.
Yeah. I think she would do really well. I think she'd be really popular, but I think what would be a sticky situation for her is I think she'd be too beloved. And I think she'd be seen as an enemy.
Yeah, she would almost be like a top tier, like getting influencer, and then that's why you need to kick her off because I can't win because you'll win.
Exactly. Is there anyone else that you were gonna say? Because that was my pick.
I mean Shane, but that's just because he's entertaining.
Yeah.
I think I would watch most shows with him on it. Because I want to see him like after that reunion. My heart broke so much. I want to see him succeed. I just want that success for him. But that's about it.
Yeah. Okay. And with that
Oh,
being said, go ahead.
as Kyle mentioned earlier, Netflix. We want the Netflix cut of this. We said it with the circle. Give me a Patreon-esque subscription. Netflix, you're already raising these rates. $15.98 or something a month is getting ridiculous. I want the behind-the-scenes content. I want all the videos I could get of these people, all the clips, all the behind. Like I want it. It could be hours and hours and hours of content. You have it. I don't need it edited. I just want, like, don't release it maybe as soon as the season comes out. Give us the season and then give us time to digest and then be like, okay, here it is. Like, here for whatever price you get to watch all the other stuff, and I will scrub through it and eat it up because I want to
100%
know
agree.
what all happened behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And don't take another 2 years to put out the next season.
Yeah.
Can we have this at least once a year?
I'm gonna blame that to COVID. Let's just
Yeah.
I think that was a COVID thing because the first one was filmed beforehand. And this was filmed, I guess, when things have cooled down. Because like the circle, you could film a little easier during COVID because they are isolated within their apartments for the most part.
Mhm.
Where this, you eventually have to be around people.
When do you want to see the next season of The Circle?
I don't know, soon. Like
Because season 3 was in September.
yeah.
I don't know if they filmed already.
Mhm.
I don't know when they plan on releasing it. I'll be real. I wouldn't mind seeing The Circle twice a year like we had
Yeah,
last year.
I think it's definitely gonna be a little while because I want the ultimatum to come out and they're gonna push that. They want to give that a little bit of
True.
time. They don't want their reality or these shows to step on the feet because they have this similar. Not obviously they're not. The Circle's the least reality TV out of all of them, I guess, and more gamey. But they want to give that stuff time to breathe. But I am also in full support of this Netflix reality TV esque lane that they're pushing. Keep it going because you're doing well. It's good content. I'm enjoying it. I know Kyle is. Obviously, we're doing podcasts on it. But yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah. But I will say they haven't announced apparently that we will see. Well, that's an old article. I was looking up to see if there was any renewal news. And I don't think that there's been a renewal announced for The Circle, but they might just be doing that to keep it a secret. Who knows? Because they filmed the last season back to back with season 2, and that was filmed like in 2020.
Yeah.
So who knows? Like in fall 2020 at that. So it was like a year-long difference. But again, I would just love to see more from this Netflix cinematic universe. Gorilla, where can the people find you if they'd like to talk to you about blind love, ultimatums, shapes?
Well, you could definitely find me on YouTube for Ginger Gorilla Gaming. You could listen to these podcasts there. Eventually, Kyle and I are going to work back into video. You can see some of our old podcasts there. And we talk about both seasons of The Circle, season 1 of Love is Blind, all the Jersey Shore seasons we go through, as along with some of our other shows that we like some of the Marvel shows. And we're going to continue to pump this out with the next episode being on this season of The Bachelor. So stay tuned for all that. You could check out my Instagram, Ginger Gorilla Gaming. I'm not really posting much on there, but if you want to reach out and contact me, you can message me there. But for as of right now, that's basically it. Kyle, what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at BuffCharmanderGW. I post some art on there that I do. I'm starting to learn to draw digitally. And I'm posting stuff on there. You can find me on YouTube, youtube.com/geeksweekly. You can find my another podcast I do. I talk about movies with our buddy KG. That is the Sweaty Dive Pod. That's both on YouTube and on your favorite podcast app, aside from Apple, because Apple Podcasts is just kind of annoying to get onto. As I don't know if you remember us trying to get one set up for this feed, but that was a bit of a pain as well.
Not easy.
And that's about it as to all of our plugs. Thank you all very much for listening. I hope that you enjoyed this podcast and hope that you enjoyed the Love is Blind season 2. Like my buddy here, Ginger Gorilla, said, we're back to talk Bachelor. In regards to that, I don't think Ginger Gorilla understands how spicy Bachelor fans can be. So we're going to try and navigate that pod as best as we can.
Hey. Kyle, you know my personality. I'm ready for that heat. I don't know if I don't know how ready I'm going to be, but I'll be ready.
So I'm going to be
tiptoe. We'll tiptoe.
Yeah.
We'll put our toes in the water. We'll talk about it very lightly.
Yeah, and, we'll be as down the middle as we can for that one. So that should be an interesting listen. But again, thank you all very much for listening, and we'll see you again next time.
Peace.